to another episode of the Hot Topic Podcast with your host, Patrick Quanch.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us for another podcast episode. I have Eric Dobbie with Allegiance Truck Group. And you are, sir, out of the Connecticut area. Is that right? Did I get
Hartford.
that right?
Beautiful Hartford, Connecticut.
Beautiful Hartford, Connecticut. That's right.
Always beautiful in Hartford. Good to see you.
It is always beautiful. Yes, good to see you, man. Thank you so much for doing this. And I can't express to you how much I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I think you've got some great stories, sir, that I'm wanting you to share with our group here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I appreciate you, Patrick, and it's great to share some time with you. And I love your show, the Hot Topic Podcast, and really appreciate what you're doing for this industry. So let's have some fun.
Yeah, wow, man. Yeah, you're doing well yourself, brother. I see you on LinkedIn all the time, and truck trends of the week. You know,
truck trends really tip of the week.
The tip of the week, that's right. The daily version for sure. It's that's awesome. And yeah, man. So obviously you and I know each other. We've talked quite a bit, and I love everything that you have and all your stories. Tell us, how'd you get in the industry? I know you've got a very diverse background. I'd love to be able to hear that again.
Well, that's a question I get a lot, because I did have to recreate myself. I did spend about 25 years on Wall Street. I was an equities trader, and which you get that question: how do you go from Wall Street to truck trading? Well, the simple answer is this: a broken ankle.
Wow, a broken ankle.
Ankle. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So years ago, I owned a condo down in Clearwater, Florida, when I worked on the street, and I had it rented to a guy him and his family that happened to be in the truck industry down in Clearwater, Florida. Now, after you might call it the downfall of 08, 9, 10, I got displaced. I got displaced in 2011, which happened to a lot of people, obviously, Yeah. So I'm actually back down in Florida, Clearwater. I got displaced in Baltimore, but I moved down to Florida with my family at the time, and then I couldn't find a job. So, and if people remember how the economy was back then, it was really interesting time. So I was actually waiting tables at a restaurant in Florida, and I get a phone call from the guy that rented my condo, and he says, "Hey, Eric, how old's Luke? Luke's my son, and at the time he was 12 years old, and he says, hey, can he play baseball? I said, yeah, he can play baseball. He says, can he catch? I said, yeah, what's going on? He says, my catcher broke his ankle. I need Luke to be on my team. I said, great. No problem. So, it ties into networking and staying in touch with people, which we'll probably get to a little bit more. But anyway, Luke's a good stick. He's a good ball player, and he can catch. So I said, sure, Luke can be on the team. So he's Little League, Clearwater, Florida. And of course, the gentleman and I went to the practices, and, what are you doing now? What are you doing? I said, I'm waiting tables down here at E&E. He says, what? He says, you're the best salesman I've ever seen. You want to sell trucks? I said, okay. So he happened to sell used Isuzus, and he did some light fabrication. And, but that's how I got in the truck industry 10 years ago.
Wow. With a broken ankle from a kid on his team that couldn't. Now, let me ask you, had your son ever caught before? Because that's
Oh yeah. Oh no, he was a good ball player. I was a baseball coach for years, and Luke's a good player. We actually lost in the finals 10-9.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, but it was fun. It was a fun run. But
what a run.
It's good to stay in touch with people, and you never know what kind of phone call you're going to get that's going to change the course of your life. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So I spent a few years as a sports official.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I called baseball. Nothing big. I did some small college stuff, but it's not a big deal. My aspiration was not to get to the major leagues. That's just not what I wanted to do. What I really wanted to do, you may find some humor in this, my sport was basketball. I really wanted to call, if you remember Big East basketball back
Yeah.
in the day,
Oh, yeah.
was it. I
It
mean,
was
it
it.
was,
Yeah.
man, you had every team had 2 or 3 NBA guys on each team.
Yeah.
Anyway, my aspiration was to be able to call Big East basketball. But anyway, with that being said, I can't tell you how many times we would be calling like high school baseball, 16U, 17U, whatever. And you'd have a player switch and a catcher come in there, and
Yeah.
you would just assume at 17 years old, they come in third inning or whatever, and they squat down and you're down there behind them. And then you just, the conversation, hey, you do have a cup on, right? Uh, no, sir. It's like, oh my God, dude, you're going to get killed, man. So
Yeah.
anyway, it was like, hey, coach, man, you can't be doing this. So,
No, I
uh,
know.
so I was always, always, always very thankful for bigger catchers. Man, I wanted the biggest guy out there. But
Well, Luke did a great job, and he could catch, and it was fun.
yeah,
But broken ankle.
yeah.
That's how I got into the industry.
And so okay. So you're selling used Isuzus, you
Used the
said.
scissors, and we did some
Okay.
light fabrication. So,
Okay.
and this story is good to continue for a couple of reasons. One, as a Wall Street guy, your job is to make money as a trader,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then, we were really, really good back in the 90s. It used to be called entertaining customers. Now it's called networking. Okay. It's evolved, but it really hasn't. It's still about relationships. So,
Right.
my first week on the job, and I'm not a truck guy. I wasn't mechanically inclined, but I knew a lot about sales and relationships because, we
Yeah.
used to trade for hedge funds and mutual funds, and probably one of the most aggressive environments you can have, Wall Street. It's Wall Street. So anyway, my first week on the job, I got a list of every Isuzu dealer from Florida to Maine, and cold calling I've done in the past, and on the phone on Wall Street a lot, cold calling. So me being me, and I called everybody up. All every dealership, every Isuzu dealership. I introduced myself. Hey, this is Eric. I'm new to the team down here. Anything I could do for you? Bippity bappity boop. That 30-second phone call. But what's really important about this phone call, and I think this is great for anybody in sales, not just selling trucks, anything. I'm a big believer in gratitude. So I followed up every phone call with a thank you card, and I'm a huge card setter. And we can get more into that later. But anyway, one of the guys I cold called happens to be Craig Judge, my boss. So a week later, he gets the card, the thank you card, and calls me up to thank me for the card. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, hey, nice touch with the card. But the card created a second conversation. And that's what's important here for any salespeople, because a verbal conversation, you get more out of it than maybe following up with an email or a text message, because a verbal conversation, you really get to know somebody and you can expand conversations. But anyway, Craig says to me, hey, nice touch. Tell me more about what you do. I said, well, we do some light fabrication. We build flatbeds and dump bodies, which we did. And he says, really? Which the curiosity was, he asked me, what's your turnaround time on a 14-foot flatbed? I said, 2-3 weeks. What's yours? He said 7-8 weeks. Oh, he says, well, give me a quote on 7 14-foot flatbeds, because if you ship up 7,
Wow.
it's cost efficient. It's cost efficient.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, second week on the job here. And I got to get a quote for this guy who calls me up. So half hour later, I give him a quote, and guess how many he ordered? 7.
Wow. There
So
you go.
yeah. So make a long story short, the card, the gratitude card, created a second conversation, which and then Craig became my biggest customer for 2 years, and I covered him like a Wall Street account. I would call Craig, and he'd pretty much vouch for me if you asked him this question off the record. I called him pretty much every day for 2 years for 10, 20 seconds. Hey, Craig, how you doing? Hey, Craig, how's your weekend? Hey, Craig, and what happens is you get to know each other. It turns out he loves golf. I love golf. Turns out he loves music. I love music, but you're having that 20-second conversation every day. And after 2 years, He became my biggest customer in Florida. After 2 years, he said, "That's it. You got to come up to work for me." And he said, "Quote," and not to be braggadocious, he says, "Nobody's ever covered me in this industry like you have." And
Wow.
so I said, "Fly me up," and that was December will be 8 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That is that's a testimony to resilience, right? And just consistency.
Yeah,
Uh 2 years. Now look, here's the question. Did he always answer the phone?
pretty much. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Craig's very easy to get a hold of, and you know, moving up from Florida, I knew Craig's background after 2 years. What I really appreciated about him is one, I knew he'd be a great mentor in the truck industry to me because his background's very similar to yours. He's done everything in the industry for 30 some years. So he's built trucks, he's fabricated, had his own business, he's done this, he's done that. So I knew he would be a great mentor teacher. And then the other thing is, knowing him, I knew his character, and I knew that, the importance for Craig was, building relationships with customers, long-term relationships. I knew that. I also liked the fact that he had a vision. He had a vision for where the business should be going. And the other thing I liked about him is he gives you the freedom as employees he puts you in the right position to do what you're really good at. So it's been a great relationship with him, and I hope I know you spoke to him briefly a couple of weeks ago, but I'd love for him and you to get on the call because he's a wealth of information in the industry, and two, he's just a really good guy.
Yeah. Yeah. We did spend a few minutes on the phone. Gosh, I don't, it probably, yeah, probably a couple weeks ago. And, you know, it's crazy how, just in a few minutes with talking to somebody, either on the phone or in person, you get a pretty good sense of who they are, what they're about. Yeah, instantly as soon as I talked to him. Of course, you would had referenced him in other conversations, so I kind of knew what I was getting into when he jumped on the phone. But all he did was solidify everything that you had to say about him.
Yeah.
Just a solid dude. And yes, I'm looking forward to it. I know he and I talked about jumping on a podcast as well. So
Good.
hopefully he'll take me up on that. So
Good.
yeah,
Good.
for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Man, take me back. I gotta hear this story or stories. Take me back to Wall Street, man. What was that like? And you said this was in the 80s, 90s in
Yeah,
that
I did.
area?
Yeah, it was. I worked in Manhattan from 85 to 99 in Manhattan with a couple other jobs before I got on a trading desk. But real quickly, I did the Wolf of Wall Street back in
Okay.
I want to say 87 ish. I did that for about 9 months. And that was amazing for a couple of reasons. And, you take something positive out of everything in life because I did get my Series 7 out of it. I got sponsored, which was huge. And it's a tough test. And then I did learn how to cold call because you're on the phone all day. I'm talking all day. Remember the yellow pages with New York? So I'd be on the phone and my three fingers, believe it or not, they were numb by the end of the day just from dialing. And you're dialing, and you got somebody over you. It was talk about a pressure situation, but it really taught you how to, one, cold call. Two, you learn that when you can get the emotion out of an answer, whether it's a yes, a no, or a maybe, and if you can take the emotion out of that, then you become a really good salesperson. Because initially, when the biggest problem most salesmen have in any industry is dealing with rejection. They deal with rejection and they sulk on it, and it affects their next half hour, an hour, whatever, But once you get to the point and realize that every phone call, whether they say yes, no, or maybe, is a positive phone call. All right. And if they say no, okay, great. Thank you very much. Go to the next one right away. Go to the next one. So once you get past that, the emotion of an answer, you become better at sales, period, the end. So that was a really good learning experience for me. And that was, I want to say 87, 88, that happened. And then I actually got burnt out after 9 months, but
I can imagine. Yeah.
it was wild, but that was up in the city. And then I took a little break from that, but then I ended up getting a job at Manufacturers Hanover. Do you remember Manufacturers Hanover Bank? It was a big bank, not around anymore. But anyway, our office was at Rockefeller Center, right overlooking
Oh,
the.
wow.
Yeah, I was in the estate and trust area, so the bank handled rich people's money.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and so anyway, I was doing that for about 11 months, and I get a phone call. From a good friend of mine named Bob Morgan. Bobby and I, we knew each other, and Bobby was working at Oppenheimer, all right, and he was on the options desk. So I get a phone call on a Thursday, and he says, "Hey, do you want to interview for a job at Wall Street at a trading desk?" I said, "Sure. How about Monday?" He says, "How about in an hour?"
Oh, gosh. Like right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So
Yeah.
he says, "Take lunch," and at the time, everybody wore suits. Everybody wore suits. So I didn't have a resume. So I hop on the subway and I go down to the Trade Center, the World Trade Center. Oppenheimer was right across the street. And so uh, as soon as I walked on a trading desk, I went, wow, this is wild. I mean, there's 100 people yelling and screaming. Guys had their ties out like this. At the time, you could smoke on the trading desk,
Yeah.
and it was just pure energy and excitement. And I said, this is great. So I go in there and I met with a guy named Malcolm Luft. He interviews me, and you're in the office and you have a suit on, and I don't know anything about trading at the time. Really, I was green. So all he did was ask me. He says, Bob says you went to school in Florida. I said, yes, sir. He shook my hand. So I leave, and he asked Bob, and this is a testament to Bob, who I knew very well. He says to Bob, okay, tell me 3 things about Eric. And he says, well, he's honest, he's green, but he'll bust his ass for you. He says, good, hire him. And then
Wow.
I had a 23-year career after that. And you learn on the fly. And trust me when I tell you this, there was no human resources on Wall Street. No, seriously, you would know if you could handle the environment of a trading floor, male or female, within 5 minutes. You had to be thick-skinned, but it was an amazing experience. And the greatest thing out of the whole experience on Wall Street was really the camaraderie of friendship. Because a trading desk is extremely tight-knit group of people, because you need to depend on the people next to you. So, you work hard, you play hard, you entertain hard. I mean, we were expected to be out networking, 4 or 5 nights a week. Oh yeah. And so I started there in 1990 with Oppenheimer, and it was just an amazing experience. Great group of people, but you really learn how to build relationships, because I really think Wall Street guys, before networking was in vogue, they were the best at it. They really were. And for a couple of reasons. One, we were always out after work, and we had a term called being visible, not invisible. Being visible means, what are you doing after 5 o'clock? Do you go home and watch TV for 4 hours, or are you going out and filling up your calendar with appointments to meet people? So we were always visible. I mean, you were expected to go out. So I got to find a copy of one of my 91, 92 pocket calendars.
Oh yeah.
Ranger game, restaurant, Nick game, Ranger game, hockey game. Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. You're out all the time. And it was awesome. It was really a pretty cool pace. Yeah.
Yeah. Just constantly entertaining customers. But man, that's got to be hard on a home life, right? I mean, you really don't.
Well, I was single.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so it would be tough to have, a significant other and kids, and
yeah.
you're just missing everything at that point, because 4 or 5 nights a week, man. That's
yeah. No, it's a young man's game. It's easier for a single guy. Most. Yeah. But I took advantage of it.
Yeah, I bet you did. So you think a lot of those experiences that has it helped your your truck sales game. It's got to, right? I
Oh,
mean, it's got to be able to.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because, you know as well as I do, Pat, you don't grow a business, you grow relationships.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
And
sure.
we were really good at it. I mean, I traded
Yeah,
for hedge funds and mutual funds. You're out all the
yeah,
time. And then
yeah,
the aggressive, I mean, when I tell you this, and this is, when I tell people this about our pocket calendars, we were booked out 3-4 months in advance, 4 or 5 nights a week, because everybody wanted to go out with Fidelity. Everybody wanted to go out with this guy. So and my boss would ask you for your calendar. Let me see your calendar. It's the easiest way to check your sales team to see if they're being visible. Because if their
yeah.
calendar is not filled with dates, they're not doing anything. They're not
Right,
out. So I mean,
right.
he would say, let me see who you're out with, and it was booked for 3-4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a great training ground. It really was. The camaraderie was. I can't tell you how close you get to some guys on the trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can imagine.
yeah, and it
You
was
know,
fun.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. I've told people that it's really it, it's an art to go, like in our side of the industry, to go make cold calls in person. It's an art, and it can't be taught. It can't be trained. Um, I have found that really the only way someone can be successful going knocking on doors is just go do it and
Yes.
build that resistance to getting the door slammed in your face 99 out of 100 times. It's tough to teach that. I remember, gosh, when I first got in the truck business, I was actually in the medium and heavy duty truck business,
Hmm.
much like what you have. And, it was required for us to get out and go knock on doors. You had some green grass and blue sky, go get within your territory and go knock on doors. And you had to have really thick skin. And if you didn't, you weren't going to make it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then I struggled like most people do when you first get started until you can figure out, okay, you reach an epiphany sometimes. You're like, I don't care what happens the next time I go knock on that door. I don't care if they eat me. It doesn't matter. I'm going and knocking on that door. And when you flip that switch for whatever reason, you walk in and you got that confidence or ignorance, however you want to phrase it, you walk in and amazingly, I think the potential decision maker can sense that, and they allow you an opportunity to at least pitch what you have to pitch. It's the craziest thing, and it's not anything you can teach or you can train.
Yeah.
Years later, I tried to refine that, and um, I didn't go in with a sales mentality. I went in to help people,
Yeah.
and
Oh
it
yeah.
completely changed everything, right? So we talk about gratitude all the time, but I would go in and say, "Hey, look, I see you guys have some old trucks sitting out here. I bought old trucks. Would you be willing to sell old trucks?" Well, let's face it, the bulldog, the Sally Sue sitting at the front desk, doesn't know what to do with that. She's taught, keep all salespeople away. I'm not a salesperson. I'm here to buy stuff. So invariably, she would say, "Well, you know what? Oh, just go talk to Chuck down the hallway here. He's third office on the left." Great. Walk in, "Hey, Chuck, I'm Pat. I buy trucks." Well, he doesn't know what to do with the information. He's like,
Yeah.
"Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, look, it's real simple. You don't have to get up from your desk. I'm just going to walk out there. I'm going to get some information. I'll get back with you on some numbers. How does that sound?" Well, everybody's curious. They want to know,
Yeah.
yeah, what are my trucks worth? I have no idea. So I would go outside, and almost 100% of the time, he would follow me out there
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
want to know what I'm doing. And I'm writing down VIN numbers and, descriptions and mileage. And, I'm doing the do, right?
Yeah.
And 100% of the time I'd ask, "Hey, are you replacing trucks? You just getting rid of truck? What are you doing?" "Oh, no, no, we're going to replace." "Oh, great. Okay." And just keep right on going. It's like, "Well, what are you going to replace it with?" "Oh, we're thinking about Chevys." "Great. Okay." And you just keep going. They're like, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to know a good Chevy guy?" And that's when you whip out your card.
Yeah.
And they're
You
like,
speak of the devil.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shockers, right?
Yeah. But that's a great point, because you're leading with, "Hey, I'd like to buy your truck instead of you selling something." That's actually a great point. Yeah. No doubt about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Because one, the front desk girl doesn't know what to do with it, so she pitches you. The next guy doesn't know really what to do with it, but essentially you're talking to the decision maker that's going to buy trucks as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And you went in with just a little different mentality. I can't tell you how many times I walked in and they were like, you know what? I'm going to tell my sales guys to use the same technique. I'm like, it works. He's like, oh, clearly it does. So
Well, if I could share a caveat to that story,
yeah, please do.
one, you're 100% right. You can't learn this from a book. You got to do it.
Right.
But two, I would go always with the mindset of having fun. You got to have fun. So my go-to thing was when you walk in, 99% of the time you're getting a gatekeeper. So I would say, hey, could I help? How could I help you? Yeah, I'm here to buy the company and give you a raise. Is 10,000 enough, or do you want 15?
What?
Oh yeah, which creates a smile. Oh, I'll take 15. Great, So yeah, I would lead with that. I'm here to buy the company and give you a raise.
That's a good one.
It's a great,
really, yeah, because they don't know you from Adam when you walk in the door.
Exactly.
You could be buying the company.
Who doesn't want a raise?
That's right. Wow, that's a really cool trick. I'm gonna have to share that one. Yeah, for
You have
sure.
to try it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that one. Yeah, man, that I can only imagine what it's like being on the desk and on Wall Street. I mean, it's just obviously you see things and and I'm sure it's glamorized in movies and things like that. Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, that was a big movie. Love that movie, and I'm sure a lot of that probably had some merit to it. If I were to be guessing, yeah.
This is a G-rated show. Yes, it did.
Yes. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
No, it was great. It was a great chapter. It really was.
Yeah. And I'm sure the message was whatever it takes to get the business, right? So
it's very competitive, and it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Hey, it's Patrick here, and I wanted to personally invite you to check out something I've just built for our industry. It's called the Truck Talk U newsletter. In every edition, I packed it with insights, strategies, and real-world knowledge that can help commercial truck pros, fleet managers, and dealership teams get better results. You'll see industry trends, helpful tools, proven sales strategies, and even some real-world stories from the field that give you a competitive edge. Whether you're selling trucks, managing a fleet, or leading a dealership, Truck Talk U is here to make sure you're more informed, more prepared, and more profitable. So if you're serious about growing your business, I'd love for you to subscribe and be part of the Truck Talk U community. It's where experience meets opportunity and where we all get better together.
Yeah, wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I know you living in New York, you told me that you were a baseball coach in Harlem, of all places, man.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, that was a life changer too. I actually coached in Harlem from 1990 to 1999.
Okay.
And the guy I met at Oppenheimer, a guy named Malcolm DeCastro, greatest mentor I ever had. All right, greatest mentor. Malcolm worked on the trading desk, which was great, and he was a Vietnam vet. And so when I had moved to Queens from the Jersey Shore, I'm originally from New Jersey, but I moved to Queens, and my commute went from 2 hours to a half hour. So now you're home instead of 7:15 in Jersey Shore, you're home at 5 o'clock. It's like, okay, I could do something after work. You're either out or whatever. But I ended up playing on the softball team, the Oppenheimer softball team, which was a very competitive, fast pitch league. You had the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, American Stock Exchange, Dean Witter, Solomon, Goldman Sachs. Everybody had a team, and they were all competitive athletes. So anyway, Malcolm was the pitcher. I was an infielder, and so we played 1 year, and I was a decent player. And Malcolm had started a clinic in Harlem called the Harlem Winter Baseball Clinic, Harlem Winter Baseball Clinic, and that was up. It was up at the Jackie Robinson Gymnasium, 145th and Bradhurst, up in Harlem. So that was actually sponsored by Columbia University and the Harlem Hospital. Wow. So Malcolm asked me, he says, Rickster, Malcolm called me Rickster. Malcolm was from St. Thomas. He says, hey, Rickster, you want to help me coach baseball? I said, sure, because I always wanted to, and I didn't know how to get involved. And And I said, "Where is it?" He goes, "Harlem." I said, "Okay, okay, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in." And this was 1990, and that time Harlem was coming back. It was coming back, but as it turned out, we coached together in the Harlem Clinic in the winter, and then we coached our team, the Traders, in the Harlem Little League, which actually started around the same time, 1990, by Dwight and Iris Rayford. And they were Harvard educated couple that had 2 kids. And Harlem didn't have baseball for like 25 years. So, yeah, so they re-implemented the Harlem Little League. So Malcolm and I coached for 9 months of the year for 9 years, 9 years together. And it was amazing. We actually won the, I want to say 91 or 92. We won the volunteer award for New York City. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah. We went downtown and met Mayor Dinkins, and it was actually Malcolm, Reuben, Shay, and myself. That was the 4 of us. And, Malcolm and Shay played, I want to say AA ball. Reuben made it to AAA ball. And then you had me. But I mean, these guys were just great guys, great mentors. And Malcolm's 81 now, 80. Yeah. And we're still friends. He's just, it was an amazing experience, because what happens is you find out, parents of any ethnicity, all they want is something positive for their kids. That's all they want. They want a positive environment. And so the Harlem Little League, and the Harlem Winter Baseball Clinic both grew tremendously from 90 to 91, 92. We had almost 150, 200 kids every Saturday. It was awesome.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That is awesome.
It was well run. It was well structured. What I learned about it as a baseball coach was Malcolm was great at maximizing an hour. All right. And minimizing idle time. So it was very organized. And as you know, kids need to be focused. And it was very structured. And it was really good, really great for a lot of kids, a lot of students, so that was a big part of my life up there while I was working on Wall Street.
Yeah. And I'm sure, when you give those kids some structure, especially, I can only imagine an environment like that, it not only keeps them off the street, but then it gives them motivation to come back the next day and to be able to maybe live a life with a little more structure rather than, not really having it. So, that is awesome.
Yeah. And for people that don't know about Harlem's, from 90 on now up to 90, you got the Harlem Glee Club. You got hockey in Harlem. You have the Harlem Little League, which is fantastic. They actually went, and I want to say 12 years after we started, they made it to the Little League World Series, and they went pretty far. Oh yeah, that was awesome. And Harlem's had a revitalization, and it's really good. There's a lot of amazing programs. Matter of fact, they have one of the best fencing programs in the country in Harlem. Fencing.
Really?
Yeah, matter of fact, my catcher on my team, Nathan, he made it to the Olympics for fencing.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had, Harlem's got amazing stuff for youth right now. Hockey, fencing, Little League Baseball, Glee Club. Oh, it's I owe a lot of credit to Malcolm DeCastro and Dwight and Iris Rayford. They really spearheaded a beautiful thing.
And at that time, I can only guess that there wasn't a whole lot of the youth activities that there are now.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But those people they were a great flame. They were a great spark.
Yeah.
And then the Harlem Hospital got involved, and Columbia University got involved. And it was amazing. It really was.
Yeah. Columbia stepping in was huge, I'm sure.
And the Harlem Hospital. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, do you remember Jesse Barfield, right? Played for the Yankees in Toronto. Jesse's wife, Marla Barfield, worked for had ties to the Harlem Hospital. And Malcolm's wife, Sheila, worked at the Harlem Hospital. So, Jesse would give us tickets to like 50 kids, and we go to Yankee Stadium.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was awesome. I mean, we had some fun. They'd get us in for batting practice at, 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. I mean, it was right on the field. I mean, it was awesome. It was an awesome experience for all of us.
Give those kids a little aspiration as to what life could be, right? You take them to oh my gosh, that's huge stuff. Oh, that's awesome.
It was awesome. Great people.
Yeah.
Great people up
I
there.
can only imagine.
Yeah.
You know, I can just imagine your thought that first day going to practice, like, what have I got myself into? And to see what it became was
Oh, yeah.
really a test. Oh my gosh. How
Well,
cool.
Malcolm and I are still friends, and Sheila, and I owe him a lot. He was an amazing mentor to me in my career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice, man. That is when you told me in the show notes about, hey, well, let's talk about coaching baseball in Harlem. I was like, what? Holy cow! Yeah, but I think that just leads to the fact that I don't think you're afraid to jump into anything. I mean,
Oh,
clearly you're not. Yeah,
no.
just jump in. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How cool is that, man? Tell me about. You said something about rock ball. What is rock ball? What is that?
Well, let's continue with baseball or rock ball. So I moved out of New York in '99. I took a job trading down in Richmond, Virginia. I'm trading down there, and actually, um, my boss down there knew about Harlem, so he had asked me to coach his team. So I started coaching Little League in Richmond, and I actually my stepson was on my Little League team, and I met my my then wife at the time in Richmond. So we merged with Wachovia Bank, Wachovia in Richmond, and Wachovia moves us to Baltimore. All right, so in Baltimore, I traded for about 5 years, and then I traded down in Washington D.C. So I'm commuting now, but I love music. I love rock and roll music, and I would listen on the train from Baltimore to Washington. I'd listen to my list. So one morning, it's like 5:30 in the morning on the train, and I'm listening, and I hear "Been a Long Time Since a Rock and Roll," Led Zeppelin, and I wake up and I have an epiphany. I said, boy, that would be a great throwing drill. And then I said, rock and roll, baseball, rock ball. And I came up with the idea on the train going to Washington, D.C. And then I heard They Call Me the Breeze by Leonard Skinner. They Call Me the Breeze. I said, that'd be a great sliding drill. So I get in the office and I got this great idea in my head from playlists. I'm listening on the radio. And I came up with the name Rock Ball, baseball, rock and roll. And one of the traders I traded with at DC was Katie Stauffer. Now, Katie played for Penn State. She was a Division I softball player. And I knew Katie would have it, meaning she would be great with kids. So I go in there. I'm all excited about this rock ball thing. And, I've had it in my head for 2 hours. And I said, Katie, you and I are going to put together this baseball program. We're going to set it to rock and roll music. Every song is going to go to another drill, and you're going to help me. and so we started out with Luke at the time. Luke, Eli, and William from Baltimore were all on my Little League team in Baltimore. I'm coaching. And I used them as a guinea pig for these drills. And then, word got around in Baltimore, what's rock ball? The parent, what's rock ball? What's rock? Can my kid come? Can my kid come? And of course we said yes. So Katie and I put this program together for about 50 minutes, and it worked. It worked. All of a sudden, after about 3-4 weeks, we had every song went to another drill. I had rock ball t-shirts. I had rock ball cookies. It flowed. It really flowed. But then what I didn't know was that you never know who's watching. You never know. So I would do this at an indoor baseball facility. I'd rent out a couple tunnels, and the music's blasting, which creates, people pop their head up going, "Ooh, what's going on over there? These kids are having fun. They're running. They're organized." So one of the practices from one of the kids that said, I wanted to be, with Luke, one of Luke's buddies, his dad comes to pick him up. And this is in like week 3 or 4 where it's flowing now. And when the practice was over, he introduces himself to me and he says, you and I need to have a chat. I said, what's up? He says, that's the best youth program I've ever seen. I said, well, thank you very much. But who are you? He's, well, I'm the director of the largest after school program in Baltimore City. I said, wow, this is great. Yeah. And he was a great guy. His name is Rob English. And so anyway, he says, would you mind doing a pilot program for an inner city school in Baltimore City? I said, sure, let's do it. And I did. Bust the kids in, and they loved it. And the beauty of this was around 2010-ish. 11. All right. So, the recession's going on. There's layoffs and stuff. I still got a job. But I started doing rock ball it was Edgewood Elementary, and it's over by Coppin State. I don't know if you know Baltimore, but Edgewood,
I know.
5th and 6th graders. But anyway, I was doing in-kind service. I was paying for the tunnels. I had T-shirts for the kids, but the school, this was really smart by the school. In order to come to rock ball, these are all inner city kids. It was a tough school. In order to come to rock ball, you had to be in class, you had to be respectful, and you had to be doing your homework.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, the buzz is getting around the school. I want to go to rock ball. I want to go to rock ball. I want to go to rock ball, which was great. So fast forward, I get laid off, and at the time, Wall Street was ending. My job was ending, whatever. But I kept doing rock ball. So after a while, the principal of the school said, whatever this rock ball thing you're doing with these kids are, you got to hire this guy. So the after school program, which was called Child First Authority, which is the largest after school program in Baltimore City, they hired me to be the director of sports.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's rock ball. And as it turns out, it's fun, it's skill-based, it's engaging, and it burns calories. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Baltimore City schools, but there's not really a gym class for kids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the obesity rate for inner city youth in Baltimore City is about 40%.
Wow.
Yeah, so this after school program, it's huge. I ran it for about, 1,200-1,300 kids in 10, 11 schools. That was the after school program. But
Wow.
I used my connections, but check that, you're going to love this. I used my connections to recruit other great coaches. I had Kim Tortolani. She taught girls lacrosse. She was the lacrosse coach for Georgetown University, women's lacrosse.
Oh, wow.
I knew Akira Fitzgerald. He was the backup goalie for the Baltimore Blast. He taught soccer.
Wow.
Yeah, we had two karate instructors. I got associated with the First Tee golf. We had two of the schools had a golf program. And then look up TT the artist. TT's fantastic. TT's out in California now. She's had a Netflix special, but she ran the arts and crafts program and photography for the after school program. So we had A+ people providing A+ value to these kids. And it was a great program. But that was rock ball. Rock ball is a lot of fun. I got shut down for COVID. I need to bring it back because one, it's fun to do, but it's great for the kids. And it's always about the kids. The kids need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But holy cow. That's the story. That's the story about rock ball. Yeah.
That's crazy. And I can only assume that some of those experiences from Harlem helped, right?
Absolutely.
Help the rock ball along.
Oh, absolutely. Because like I told you with Malcolm was, as a coach in any sport, but especially baseball, how do you maximize an hour? Yeah. And how do you minimize idle time? So baseball is probably the biggest culprit of, you're standing around and got 9 kids out there. Hey, hit one to the third baseman, but so rock ball is, I always talked about the 3 Fs. We're going to have fun. We're going to move fast and you're going to stay focused. So I would set the pace of repetition, and an ideal class was 16 kids, 8 per coach, me and another coach, and we mirrored each other. And let me tell you something, and in 50 minutes, we had 3 water breaks because they needed it. oh my God. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it was great, and parents loved it. Kids loved it, obviously.
Yeah.
You're a coach, it's all about repetition, but you got to make it fun. You got to make it fun. Yeah. And it was skill based. You're going to run, throw, slide, catch. You're going to do everything. But it was fun. And the kid, not just in Harlem or Baltimore, all cities need these type of programs. They really do.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. That keeping the kids focused on, and then incentivizing them that they had to meet certain standards to be able to be a part of this. It's not just, I want to be a part of it, I'm going to go do it. No. You got to be in class. You got to be respectful. And your grades have to be at a certain level. No, that's awesome. And these were, you said fifth and sixth grade? Fifth and 6th graders. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And the program was called Child First Authority, which is still there in Baltimore. And and I also ran rock ball for Carmelo Anthony Center.
Okay.
Down,
Yeah.
and there's a couple sports athletes that really support Baltimore. Obviously Cal Ripken, Ray Lewis, Carmelo Anthony, and Jonathan Ogden. Remember the left tackle Hall of Famer? Those guys really put their best foot forward for the community of Baltimore, which a lot of times goes unnoticed. But I can attest to their effort for kids in the Baltimore area, which is fantastic. It's a testament to them. It really is. And it's nice to see, especially athletes, give back to the community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like you said, a lot of that goes unnoticed because, when you watch a typical newscast, there's only so much room for good stories. It's mostly bad stories. So, a story like that may catch 1 out of every 30 opportunities, whereas, we're always reporting on the bad stuff because that's what the media wants us to see, or they feel like that's what they want us to see. So, man, good for you, dude. That's
well, thanks.
Holy cow. Yeah, man, I can only imagine how and rock ball to come up with it on your own because, I coached baseball whenever my kids were younger. And you're right, there is a lot of idle time and you're constantly you're re-engaging kids. Hey, pay attention over here, because you're right. You got outfielders just standing around and then you needed, for, let's say a 12, 15 man team or kid team or whatever, you needed 7 or 8 coaches out there just to keep the kids engaged
exactly
over the course of an hour and a half or whatever you're going to do. Because, you've got batting practice going on over here and you got fielding practice going on over here. And, you might have sliding practice going on over here, but there is a lot of idle time. There's a lot of standing around and those kids don't do well when they're just standing around. They want to be engaged.
Yeah.
They want to just be doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Holy
time.
Cow.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Do you ever sleep? That's my question.
Yeah, I do sleep, Pat.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy, man. It's just, but I could see where you just get going on these. And then from all the networking that you're doing, I mean, just keeping those same people within your network and being able to go back to the well and calling on those people, I think is remarkable. And I think that we can do the same thing in business, right? I mean, it's, we're calling on the same people to be able to help us out, even if you haven't talked to them in a while, but just being able to continue to network.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. Yeah, man.
Oh,
and I know you're part of a big networking group. Remind me, is it BNI? Is that what it
BNI?
is?
Yep. Business
BNI.
Network International. BNI, Business Network International. Yes.
BNI. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about BNI. How does that shape your
love
world?
to. Yeah, I'd love to because BNI has been around for about 40 years. It was started by Ivan Meisner, Misner, but there's a BNI chapter in every town in America. I happen to be the president of BNI River East up here in Manchester, Glastonbury, but it's a referral organization and you're allowed to go as a guest, and each seat is a different business professional. So you'll have a mortgage guy, an insurance guy, a truck guy, a promotions guy, a real estate lawyer, a personal injury lawyer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it gives you a platform, especially as a salesperson, to highlight yourself and your business once a week with a 1-minute infomercial. All right, I'm looking for an introduction to a specific business or an individual, or maybe I need help with some social media or something. But it's actually a great thing for any salesman to at least try. All right, why? Because there is personal and professional growth involved. When you're standing in front of a group of people, you have to engage yourself. My chapter meets every week, Wednesday, 7:00 in the morning, but it's fantastic. And then at one time, I had 4 of my truck customers in my chapter, and they were getting referral business. So as I tell people I don't sell trucks. I sell relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn everything about your company. And then as a networker, networking is all about having a 24/7 mindset to help others.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pure networker, because you got to remember, Pat, most people are takers. They're not givers. You got to be a giver to become a great networker. But with that, if you can get a group of people around you that have that same mindset of trying to help each other. We're all in this game of life together. And if you get a group of people that are looking out for each other, it just makes the ride a lot smoother. And you'll find out that there's a lot of great people out there. So I highly recommend for all the listeners out there, check out a BNI chapter. Google BNI your town. There'll be a chapter, guarantee it. And then there's a time during the week where you're allowed to go as a guest, but go. You're going to meet a lot of people. And another thing about it is, like, when I'm listening to everybody's infomercial, there's the one that I'm learning what's going on in the mortgage world. I'm learning what's going on by the general contractor. What's he building? I'm learning what the insurance guy's talking about. It's actually goes back to my Wall Street days because, information is the key to everything. So you got to learn to become a great listener too, but you get great feedback of what's really going on in the economy every week, just listening to the people in your group. Yeah, it's invaluable. I think everybody should go. I think every salesman should be in a BNI chapter. I've been in my chapter here for 7 years, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. If there's something to be able to pull from authorities within their space, right? Because as much as you're pulling information and gathering from the people that are within the group, they're doing the same from you. Because you're able to share your experiences and what's going on in the world that may influence somebody else's decision as to what they need to do, pivot in their business or within their company, whatever it is that they do. Information like that is invaluable. And it's outside of a really good networking group like that, it's really difficult. I don't want to say really difficult, but it's difficult to find that. Whereas you can go in for your weekly meetings and they take about an hour, you said.
Yeah.
So in an hour's time, but within that hour, you're able to pull away from there, and it gives you a good sense as to, like you said, what's going on in the economy. Because as sales guys and truck sales guys, you may be able to sympathize with this. Sometimes we get this feeling of, man, business is kind of off. Is it the industry? Is it the economy? Or is it me? Right. And then we play that. A lot of people that aren't in sales, they don't understand this and they don't get it. But it's that mental playground that we go to all the time. It's like, man, my phone hasn't rang all day. I haven't gotten an email, in 8 hours. What's going on, and kind of thing. And then you look up and within 2 or 3 days, whack, you're right back to being busy again. And then, we're on to handling whatever task we need to handle. But no, it's always good to get information, especially firsthand information, from a group like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of correlation to becoming a great networker and the habits of that versus being in a networking group. And there's a correlation to Wall Street too, or sales, I should say, because there's 4 habits that we always talk about to become a great networker. Number 1, I mentioned you have to have a 24/7 mindset to help others. Number 2, you have to be a proactive networker. You cannot be reactive. Same with sales. If you're waiting for somebody to walk through the dealership, you're reactive. Proactive is you're on social media, you're in a networking group, you're in your showroom, you're coming in on Saturday mornings, you're doing that extra mile, and being a proactive networker, you have the opportunity every week to have a list of all the people, set up on your calendar, a one-to-one, a coffee date, whatever you want to call it. But that's the foundation of any relationship where you're sitting down and I'm getting to know Patrick. Patrick's getting to know Eric. I'm learning about your business. You're learning about my business. But what you're really doing is starting the foundation of trust in a relationship. And, there has to be equity to a relationship. It just doesn't happen instantly. So you need to be out there, which ties back to my Wall Street days when you were always out building relationships. So, you have an opportunity every week. I have 22 members. I could call them up, get them on my calendar. Let's have a little coffee date. So you're always doing that again. And number 3, you have to learn to become a great listener. Why? Because everybody you meet, something's going on personally and professionally where you may be able to refer somebody in the group to them. So learn to become a great listener. And also a caveat to that is learn how to maximize conversations. And here's an example. We have part service and sales, right? We have part service. So guy comes in to buy a truck part. and we just sell them a truck part without maximizing the conversation. All right, how about this? Hi, Mr. Smith, how's business? How many trucks do you have? Right? Yeah, I'm just curious. Those three magic words. I'm just curious, Pat. How many trucks do you have? I'm just curious. How's your summer? So you don't just let a guy come in to buy a truck part. You maximize the conversation with open-ended questions to get more information out of him. It may turn out the guy's got 12 or 13 trucks. 5 of them are 9 years old. And hey, over here's Eric, a salesman. You might want to talk to him, right? So we as in all sales areas, not just truck, but people tend to not maximize conversations and they waste opportunities all week long. Learn to maximize conversations, have that conversation, ask those open-ended questions. Because if I say to you, Pat, hey, what's your favorite color? What's your answer? All right, conversation's over. But I say, hey, Pat, I'm just curious. What prompted you to start the Hot Topic podcast? Yeah, that's a hell of a question, right? Yeah, and now you're gonna expand on it and talk to me like that. Yeah, absolutely. So learn to maximize conversations. And the last thing we always talk about, the last habit of becoming a great networker, goes back to gratitude.
Hey, it's Patrick here, and I wanted to personally invite you to check out something I've just built for our industry. It's called the Truck Talk You newsletter. In every edition, I packed it with insights, strategies, and real-world knowledge that can help commercial truck pros, fleet managers, and dealership teams get better results. You'll see industry trends, helpful tools, proven sales strategies, and even some real-world stories from the field that give you a competitive edge. Whether you're selling trucks, managing a fleet, or leading a dealership, Truck Talk U is here to make sure you're more informed, more prepared, and more profitable. So if you're serious about growing your business, I'd love for you to subscribe and be part of the Truck Talk U community. It's where experience meets opportunity and where we all get better together.